You have the power inside you to shape your future with your thoughts, your imagination, and your steady effort. It's the power that leads to a life lived with real purpose and meaning. So, what does this rich thinking look like when you use it? It means you will learn to set big goals that truly excite you, and then you will create a clear way to get there. You will understand that taking charge of your life isn't hard. It's actually where your power is. You will welcome the idea that you are always learning, always curious, and eager to gain more knowledge and skills, because that's how you grow. And you will find the amazing strength that comes from self-discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't want to. Your thoughts and your imagination are not just daydreams. They are powerful. 1. Think like the successful. Our thoughts are like a hidden engine that guides our lives. They shape what we choose, what we do, and what happens in the end. People who do well, who seem to handle life's problems easily and build happy lives, don't just act differently. They think differently. This way of thinking isn't a secret only a few people know. It's a set of habits we can learn, a way of looking at life that anyone can use. This is the main idea of rich thinking, a way of thinking that helps us create our future instead of just letting our future happen to us. Think of two friends who both want to open a small bakery. Let's call them Sarah and Mark. Sarah has always wanted to bake and sell her yummy cookies, but she worries a lot about money. What if I don't sell enough? She asks herself, what if my oven breaks? I can't pay to fix it. She spends her days looking for the cheapest ingredients, the most basic tools, and always tries to find ways to save money because she's afraid of not having enough. Her mind is always full of what-ifs about not having enough and things going wrong. Mark also dreams of his bakery. He knows it will be hard. He might say it's going to be tough, but he thinks about it in a different way. He's already drawing his menu, thinking of special flavors, and picturing how nice his shop will feel. He's looking for sellers of good ingredients, even if they cost a bit more, because he knows his customers will want good quality. He's thinking about how to bring people in, how to make his bakery special. His thoughts are full of good ideas. What if I make a special cookie each month? How can I make a welcoming place? Who can help me tell people about my bakery? This is the big difference between just reacting to life and creating it. Sarah is living in a world of what if things go wrong. Mark is living in a world of what if things go right, and how can I make them happen? Sarah waits for things to happen to her. Mark makes things happen. This way of taking action, of setting clear, big goals and then working hard to reach them, is a key part of rich thinking. It doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means facing them with a plan and a strong idea of success that keeps you moving forward. It's like the difference between being a passenger on a boat, moved by the waves, and being the captain, deciding where to go. At the very start of this active way of thinking is a strong belief that you are in charge of yourself. Successful people don't waste time blaming others or situations for their problems. They know that even though outside things happen, how they react to those things is completely up to them. If Sarah's oven broke, she might feel sad, thinking it was a sign she shouldn't have started. Mark, if the same thing happened, would see it as a problem to solve. His first thought wouldn't be this is unfair, but okay, how do I fix this? Who can I call? Can I borrow an oven for a while? What can I learn so this doesn't happen again? This idea that you are responsible is very powerful. When you stop looking outside yourself for answers and start looking inside, you find your own strength and ability to solve problems. It's like realizing you have the steering wheel. Instead of feeling helpless when a problem comes up, you feel like you can do something. You can ask yourself, what can I do differently? Or what can I do right now to make this better? This changes you from feeling like a victim, where you feel powerless, to feeling like a creator, where you know you can affect what happens. Blaming leads nowhere. Being responsible opens the door to solutions. Think about what someone says to themselves when they face a big problem. For example, imagine someone like Sarah, who wanted to open her bakery, suddenly loses her job at a local cafe. Someone with a scarcity mindset might think right away, "This is the end. My career is over. I'll never find another job. I'm not good enough. It's the economy's fault, or my boss didn't like me." Their thoughts go down a bad path, focusing on the bad things, on what they think they did wrong, and on things they can't control. They feel a heavy sadness and hopelessness, and their next steps, if they take any, will likely be slow and full of fear. Now, imagine someone with rich thinking facing the same situation. Their thoughts might sound more like this: "Okay, this is not what I expected. It's sad, but it's also a chance. What did I learn when I worked at the cafe? What skills did I use? What did I enjoy the most? What kind of work would really make me happy now?" This is a chance to think again and maybe go after that bakery dream with more focus, or maybe look at a new path I hadn't thought of before. Do you see the difference? The focus isn't on what was lost, but on what was learned and what good things can happen next. The problem is seen not as an end, but as a turning point, a chance to use their energy and skills in a new direction. This is a growth mindset in action, seeing problems not as proof that you're not good enough, but as helpful information and a reason to learn new things. This leads us to another important quality of successful thinkers. They are committed to always learning and have a growth mindset. They know that the world is always changing, and to do well, they must also always be changing. They don't think that what they know or can do now is all they will ever know or be able to do. Instead, they see themselves as students for life, always curious, always wanting to understand more, and always open to new ideas. Think about someone who believes they know everything. They might ignore new information that doesn't fit what they already believe. They might avoid tasks that seem too hard, afraid they will fail and show they don't know enough. This is a fixed mindset, believing that our abilities are set and cannot change. Rich thinking, however, uses a growth mindset. This means believing that our abilities can be made better through hard work and effort. Our brains and talent are just the starting point. This view helps people see challenges not as scary things, but as chances to get better and grow. Let's look at a real example of how a growth mindset can turn something seen as a weakness into a strong advantage. Imagine someone who feels they are naturally bad at speaking in front of groups. They get nervous, their voice shakes, and they often forget what they wanted to say. This could be seen as a weakness that can't be changed. Someone with a fixed mindset might avoid any situation where they have to speak in front of others, limiting their chances in their career. However, someone with a growth mindset, facing this same fear, would handle it differently. They wouldn't say, "I'm just not good at public speaking." Instead, they might think, speaking in front of groups is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned and improved with practice. What help is available? I could join a public speaking group, take an online class, practice in front of a mirror, or ask a friend to listen and tell me what to improve. They actively look for ways to get better at this skill. They might even see their first nervousness as a sign that they want to do a good job, and use that energy to prepare even more carefully. Over time, by working hard and learning, they change what they once saw as a big weakness into a strong skill they are confident in. They didn't change who they are. They changed what they believed about their ability to learn and grow. This commitment to learning and growing is closely linked to self-control. Often, self-control is not understood correctly. It's not about being mean to yourself or living without things you enjoy. Instead, rich thinking sees self-control as a powerful tool, like a muscle that gets stronger when you use it, leading to more freedom and success. Successful people know that doing things regularly and with focus, even on days when they don't feel like it, builds progress. They know that small, daily habits, when done over and over, add up to big results. Think about Mark, our baker who wants to start his own business. His self-control isn't about forcing himself to wake up very early to bake when he'd rather sleep. It's about understanding that if he wants his bakery to do well, he needs to be there, making fresh things for his customers. It's about setting a schedule and sticking to it, not because someone told him to, but because he has a clear idea of what he wants to achieve. It's about choosing to spend an hour learning about how to advertise instead of looking at social media, because he knows that hour will bring him closer to his goal. This is not a hard job. It's a choice that leads to the freedom of owning his own successful business. Self-control, in this way, is not the opposite of freedom, it's the path to it. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, successful thinkers accept failure not as an end, but as a necessary part of the journey. The path to any important success is rarely smooth and straight. There will be unexpected turns, bumps, and problems. The important difference is how someone sees and reacts to these moments. For someone with rich thinking, a problem or a mistake is not a sign of their worth or a reason to give up. Instead, it's useful information. When Sarah's first cookie recipe doesn't sell as well as she hoped, she doesn't get sad and decide she's a bad baker. Instead, she asks herself, why didn't it sell? Was it the taste? The price? Did I not tell enough people about it? She uses what she learns to change her recipe, her prices, or how she tells people about it. She learns from the experience. This is what it means to use failure as information. It's about taking the lessons, picking yourself up, and using that knowledge to make your approach better. It builds strength, making you stronger and wiser for the next challenge. It allows you to change direction, to adjust, and to eventually find a way forward. Understanding these main ideas of rich thinking is the first, important step. But as we've seen, just thinking isn't enough. The next important part is turning this powerful way of thinking into steady, planned actions. In the next section, we will look at the practical ways and habits that successful people use every day to turn their thoughts into real results. 2. Harness the power of mindset. Your mind is like a garden. You can let weeds grow, or you can plant pretty flowers that make you happy. It's your choice, and it's your work. This is the main idea behind building a good life. It's not about what happens to you, but about how you think about it. This is where your mindset, or how you think, is very strong. Think about it. Two people can have the same problem. One sees a wall, a big problem, something sad. The other sees a new path, a chance to learn. The problem is the same, but how they see it, the story in their head, is different. This story comes from your mindset, what you believe, how you feel, and how you see yourself in the world. Your mindset is like a filter. It's how you see everything. If you think with doubt, fear, or that things are always against you, you will see problems everywhere. You will miss chances because they don't fit your sad view. You might even make problems because you expect them. This is poor thinking. It's thinking about surviving, what you don't have, and blaming others for where you are. It keeps you stuck, looking at what went wrong or waiting for others to fix things. But there's another way. There's a way of thinking that opens doors, makes chances, and helps you bounce back. This is rich thinking. It doesn't mean you have lots of money. It means thinking like rich, successful people. Rich thinking means believing you can shape your future. It means seeing hard things as chances to move forward. It's about taking care of your actions and what happens, seeing yourself as the driver of your life, not just a rider. Imagine a young woman named Maya. She worked in a store and it closed. She felt lost. She thought, this is bad. I'll never find another good job. It's the economy, my boss, bad luck. She felt sad for weeks, looking for jobs without hope. This was her poor thinking, focusing on the loss and why she was stuck. Then, Maya remembered reading about taking control of your thoughts. She tried a new way. Instead of seeing the job loss as an end, she saw it as a chance. What if this is a chance to do something I love? She thought. She thought about her skills, what she liked, and what work would make her happy. She started to believe she could make her own path, even if it was different. This was the start of her rich thinking. She looked into starting small businesses, talked to people who had started their own, and learned new things online. It wasn't easy. She had doubts and felt overwhelmed. But instead of stopping, she used those feelings. When she felt down, she told herself, this is a learning moment. What can I do differently next time? She took charge of her learning and her progress. She wasn't waiting for a perfect job. She was building the future she wanted. This change in her thinking didn't just change her job chances. It changed Maya. She became more sure of herself, stronger, and more into life. Her friendships got better because she wasn't bringing sadness and blame. Her health got better because she was less stressed and more active. She started to find chances she never would have seen before. She opened a small, successful online shop selling handmade crafts, something she always dreamed of but never thought possible. Maya's story is not about luck. It's about the strong power of her mindset. This is the big difference between rich thinking and poor thinking. Poor thinking keeps you in a cycle of just getting by, where you react to life, blame others, and feel like you can't do anything. It's like being in a boat with no oars, just floating. You might complain, but you don't think you can change the direction. Rich thinking, however, puts you in charge. You know you can't always control bad weather, but you can control where your ship goes. You pick a place to go, learn how to steer, and take steps to get there. It's about seeing limits not as walls, but as puzzles to solve. It's about knowing that failing isn't the opposite of success. It's often a needed part of getting there. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every wrong turn a chance to get better. The best part is that your mindset isn't something you're born with and can't change. It's not fixed. Think of your mind like a muscle. Like going to the gym to make muscles stronger, you can work to make your mindset stronger, more positive, and more helpful. It takes effort, practice, and wanting to change how you think. This might sound simple, and it is at its heart. But simple doesn't always mean easy. It takes work to forget old ways of thinking that have been with you for a long time. It means being honest about what you believe. It means choosing new ways of seeing things and practicing them until they feel natural. So, what are the first, easy steps you can take today to start seeing and changing your mindset? First, just notice. Start paying attention to your thoughts. When you face a problem, what's your first feeling inside? Do you feel angry, blame, or helpless? Or do you feel a little curious, wanting to find an answer? When you hear about someone else doing well, do you think, they're just lucky, or how did they do that? Can I learn from them? Just noticing these patterns is a big step. You don't need to judge yourself, just watch. This noticing is the first light that lets change come in. Second, question what you believe. Many of our limits are so deep inside that we don't even know they're there. If you think, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do that, stop. Ask yourself, is this really true? What proof do I have for this belief? What proof do I have against it? Often, you'll find these beliefs are based on old experiences, fears, or things others told you, not on what's real. Third, change bad thoughts. When a bad thought comes up, and it will because we're human, try to change it. Instead of this is too hard, try this is hard, but I can figure it out. Instead of I failed, try I learned something useful. It's about changing the words you use in your head. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing a view that helps you move forward. Let's look at a real example. Imagine you are learning something new, like playing music or coding. You practice for an hour, and it's not going as fast as you hoped. Poor thinking. I'm bad at this. I'll never be good enough. I should quit. Everyone else makes it look easy. This thinking focuses on not succeeding right away and feeling not good enough, which makes you feel sad and likely to stop trying. Rich thinking. This is harder than I thought, and that's okay. Learning takes time and practice. What part am I finding difficult? Maybe I need to find a different lesson or ask for help. I'll focus on getting a little better each day. This thinking sees the difficulty but focuses on solving problems, keeping going, and believing that progress is possible with more effort. The difference in what happens between these two ways of thinking can be huge. The poor thinking way leads to quitting, proving to yourself that you can't do it. The rich thinking way leads to trying again, getting better, and finally succeeding, proving to yourself that you can learn and achieve. This power of mindset goes much further than just skills. It affects how you approach your job. Someone with poor thinking might see their job as just a way to get money, doing the least they can, and feeling unhappy about their work. They probably won't look for promotions or new chances because they don't think they can change their career path. On the other hand, someone with rich thinking sees their job as a place to help, learn, and grow. They look for ways to add value, they seek out hard tasks, and they actively look for chances to move up. They know that their effort and attitude directly affect their career. They aren't waiting for success to happen to them. They are making it happen. Even in our personal lives, our mindset is very important. If you go into relationships worried about not being loved enough, or always looking for what's wrong with others, you'll likely create distance and fights. If you go into relationships believing people are good, being kind with your love and understanding, and focusing on connection, you'll build deeper, more fulfilling relationships. The effect spreads. A good, growing mindset doesn't just help one part of your life, it creates a good cycle. When you feel more able in your job, it makes you more confident in other areas. When you learn to bounce back from problems, you are better able to handle personal challenges. When you focus on answers instead of problems, you tend to bring more good things and people into your life. Your whole life starts to change, not because the world changed, but because you changed how you deal with it. Knowing that your mindset is your strongest tool is the first step. It's the base for all success. But how do we build this strong tool? The next important step in using your mindset is deciding what you truly want, setting clear goals that make you want to try and guide your actions. 3. Embrace self-discipline and learning. Self-control is the quiet power that makes your big dreams happen. It's not about being perfect or never feeling lazy. It's about doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like it. Think of it like getting stronger. You can't lift heavy weights the first day, but if you keep trying, you get stronger. Self-control is the same. It's the push inside you to keep going, not to put things off or to take the easy way. When you have a clear, big goal, a sign of rich thinking, self-control helps you make it real. It helps you say no to fun things right now, like looking at your phone too much or buying things you don't need. Instead, it helps you wait for the good things that will come later. It's the voice that says, "This is hard, but it's worth it," and then helps you take the next step. Without this inner strength, even the best ideas can disappear. People who are successful don't just feel motivated every day. They have learned to act no matter how they feel. They do what they say they will do. They finish tasks even when they are boring or hard. This steady work, powered by self-control, builds up and leads to big wins. Learning, on the other hand, is the fuel that keeps this engine running well. Rich thinking isn't about knowing everything. It's about being curious and wanting to find answers. It's about always learning more about the world, your work, and yourself. This desire to learn helps you change when things change. It helps you see new chances and find new ways to solve problems. When you are learning, you are not just getting facts. You are seeing things in new ways. You start to see what's possible when others see problems. This is the opposite of a stuck mindset, which sees new ideas as a threat. Instead, a growing mindset, fed by learning, welcomes new ideas and sees mistakes as chances to get stronger. Think about reading books, going to classes, finding someone to guide you, or even looking closely at your own mistakes. These are not just extra things to do. They are how you get better. They give you new tools, new plans, and a deeper understanding that can change how you handle problems. Always learning stops you from staying the same. In a world that is always changing, being able to learn and change is not just good. It's needed to keep being successful. The real power of rich thinking comes when self-control and learning work together. They make each other better. Self-control gives you the structure and the promise to spend time and energy learning. You need self-control to set aside time each day to read, study, or practice something new, even when other things want your attention. Without self-control, learning can be just a hobby with interesting facts, but no real use. Learning, in turn, gives you the reason and the direction for your self-controlled actions. When you understand why something is important, or when you find a better way to do a task, your self-control becomes stronger. For example, imagine you have the self-control to go to the gym every day. If you also learn about good food and how to work out well, your hard work will give you much better results. Learning guides your self-control, making it smarter and more useful. This back and forth makes sure your efforts are not just steady, but also smart and moving forward. One of the best ways self-control and learning help us is by letting us handle the problems and mistakes that life brings. Rich thinking doesn't mean life will be easy. Instead, it helps you see these problems differently. They are not seen as your fault or as an end. They are seen as chances to learn. This needs two things: the self-control to look at what went wrong without blaming yourself, and the willingness to learn from it. When a business doesn't do well, someone with rich thinking doesn't just quit. They use self-control to look at what happened. What went wrong? What could have been done differently? What about the market? At the same time, they learn. Maybe they read about new business plans, understand customers better, or ask for advice from people who had similar problems. This careful look, along with a desire to learn, lets them change their plans and try again with more knowledge and a better chance of success. This ability to bounce back, to learn from everything, and to keep moving forward with a new purpose is key to lasting success. Let's see how not having self-control stops you from reaching rich thinking goals, even if the goals are clear. Imagine someone who wants to start an online shop. They have a great idea for a product, they know who to sell it to, and they have a basic plan. These are parts of rich thinking. But if they don't have self-control, they can get sidetracked easily. Mornings are spent on social media instead of building the website. Evenings are spent watching TV instead of looking for suppliers. The first excitement fades and the work that takes time, like building the website, finding products, or advertising, is put off forever. The clear goal stays just a dream because the inner power to act is weak. Putting things off becomes the normal way and the chance is lost. Not because the idea was bad, but because the self-control to do it was missing. This is poor thinking taking over. letting what feels good now and avoiding work decide your actions, thus hurting your future. Now, what are the best, practical ways for you to start building self-control and learning new things, starting today? The secret is to start small and build up. For self-control, pick one small habit you want to start. It could be making your bed every morning, drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or reading for just 10 minutes before bed. The goal isn't the habit itself, but doing it each day. When you finish that small task, notice it. This builds your confidence and makes your self-control muscle stronger. Slowly, you can make the habit longer or harder. For learning, set aside a specific, short time each day or week for it. This could be listening to a podcast on your way to work, reading an article you like during your lunch break, or watching a learning video before you go to sleep. The important part is doing it regularly. Don't try to know everything at once. Try to learn something new each day. Think of it like planting seeds. You don't see a full tree the next day, but if you water it and care for it, it will grow. These small, regular actions are much stronger than doing a lot of work once in a while. Also, how does a commitment to learning stop you from staying the same and help you change when the world is always changing, which is key for long-term success? The world is like a flowing river. It never stays the same. Jobs change, new technology appears, and what people need shifts. If you stop learning, you stop flowing with the river. You become stuck like a rock in the water and get left behind. A commitment to learning keeps you aware of these changes. It lets you get ready for changes instead of just reacting to them. For example, someone in marketing who stops learning about new online advertising methods will soon find their old ways don't work. But someone who studies new trends, learns new tools, and tries new plans will not only change, but can even lead their field. This ability to adapt is very important. It means you are not stuck with old ways of thinking or doing things. You can change when needed, use new technology, and find new ways to help others or solve problems. This smart approach, fueled by constant learning, is what lets people and businesses not just survive, but do well for a long time, staying important and successful. Just like a skilled artist makes their work better with practice and learning new ways, the rich thinker makes their path by being steady with self-control and always seeking knowledge. These are not hard things to do, but powerful tools that unlock what you can do and lead to a life with purpose and success. The next step is to understand how we can best use the most valuable thing we have. 4. Take action and responsibility. Ideas are like tiny seeds. They have the power to become something amazing. But if you keep a seed in its packet, it will never grow into a big tree. It needs good dirt, water, and sunshine. Most importantly, it needs to be put in the ground. Your dreams are like these seeds. Rich thinking helps you plant them, but you need to do things to make them real. If you only think, your best ideas will stay just thoughts, pretty but not real. Think about it. Have you ever had a really great idea? Maybe for a new business, a way to do your job better, or a fun personal project. You might have spent a lot of time thinking about it, making it perfect in your head. But then what? For many people, the next step feels too hard. It's scary to try and make a big idea real. You start to worry. What if it doesn't work? What if I don't have enough money? What if I'm not good enough? This is called being stuck in your head. It feels safe to just think and not try, because then you don't have to worry about failing or working hard. But people who think rich know that doing things is what makes ideas happen. They don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan. They know that trying to be perfect can stop you from starting. Instead, they focus on doing a good enough job to get started. This doesn't mean being messy. It means knowing that the first step, even if it's small and not perfect, is much better than taking no. step at all. Taking that first step, even a small one, starts things moving. It's like pushing a big, heavy ball. The first push is the hardest, but once it starts to roll, it gets easier. Each small step makes the next one easier, like a snowball rolling down a hill. This constant movement is what makes rich thinkers different. They don't just dream, they do. They get involved in life and work hard to make their dreams come true. Look at Sarah. She always wanted to have a small bakery. She loved to bake, and everyone loved her cakes. For years, she drew pictures of her dream shop and imagined the smell of fresh bread. But getting a loan, finding a place, and doing all the business papers seemed impossible. She was stuck thinking about all the problems. Then, one day she stopped planning and started doing. She began by selling cakes at local markets on weekends. It was hard work. She had to wake up very early, set up her table, and talk to customers. She didn't have a fancy shop, just a small table and lots of energy. But with each market, she learned. She saw which cake sold the most, what people wanted, and how to manage her time and money better. She took care of every sale, every person she met, and every comment she heard. This steady, small work, driven by her love for baking, slowly made her more confident and brought her more customers. It wasn't the big opening she had imagined, but she was taking action, and it was leading her to where she wanted to be. This brings us to another important part of rich thinking: taking full responsibility for yourself. This is maybe the hardest, but also the most powerful part. Many people blame other things for their problems. They say the economy is bad, their boss doesn't like them, or they just aren't lucky. This is how people with a poor mindset think. They feel like they have no power to change their lives. When you blame others, you give away your power to make things better. Rich thinking, on the other hand, is built on taking ownership. It means knowing that even if you can't control everything that happens, you can always choose how you react. You are in charge of your choices, your actions, and what happens because of them. This isn't about feeling bad about yourself. It's about knowing you have the power to change things. If your business isn't doing well, someone with a poor mindset might blame the market. Someone with a rich mindset will ask, "What can I do differently? How can I change? What do I need to learn?" This change in thinking is huge. It turns you from someone who just lets things happen to someone who builds their own life. Think about a time something went wrong for you. Maybe a project at work didn't go well, or you didn't reach a personal goal. It's natural to want to blame others or make excuses. But real growth, the kind that leads to lasting success, happens when you look at yourself. You ask, "What was my part in this? What could I have done better? What did I learn from this?" Taking responsibility for your mistakes, just like for your successes, shows you are strong and mature. It means you are not afraid to be honest with yourself about what you did. Knowing yourself is a powerful tool. It helps you see patterns, fix mistakes, and make better choices in the future. It's about owning your journey with all its ups and downs and knowing you can guide your own path. This doesn't mean ignoring hard times. Life will always have challenges. You might lose your job, have health problems, or face money troubles. The difference is how you see these events. Someone with a poor mindset sees them as impossible problems, proof that they are meant to struggle. Someone with a rich mindset sees them as tests, chances to show how strong and smart they are. They might admit it's hard, but they quickly focus on what they can control: their attitude, their effort, and their willingness to learn and change. Taking responsibility isn't about carrying heavy loads alone. It's about knowing you are the main driver of your life, and that knowing this gives you the power to make changes. The third key to making rich thinking real is doing small things often. We often think about big actions or success happening overnight. We see the best parts of successful people's lives and imagine they got there in one big jump. But the truth is, most big achievements come from many small, regular efforts. Doing things regularly, even when you don't feel like it, is what makes things happen. It's the quiet, often unnoticed work you do every day, even when your motivation is low. Think about building strong muscles. You don't get strong by going to the gym just once and lifting the heaviest weights. You get strong by going often, doing the exercises correctly, and slowly making them harder. Each time you work out, each movement you do, is a small step that helps you grow stronger. The same is true for any goal you have. Whether you want to learn a new skill, save money, get healthier, or build a business, doing something every day makes the difference. Rich thinkers understand how these small actions add up. They know that doing something small every day, even for just 15 or 30 minutes, makes a big difference over time. It's about creating habits that help you reach your goals. If you want to write a book, you don't wait for a whole day of inspiration. You decide to write 500 words each day. If you want to learn a new language, you don't try to learn everything in 1 week and a month. You spend 20 minutes each day practicing words and grammar. This steady work builds energy, helps you learn, and makes the big goal seem less scary. It's like a steady drip of water that can wear away a rock. This is where self-control is truly important. Motivation is like a friend who visits sometimes and then leaves. Self-control, however, is always there. It's the promise to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. This doesn't mean being boring or unhappy. It means having the inner strength to keep going, to choose to do the productive thing even when the easy, less productive thing is tempting. It's about keeping your promises to yourself. By showing up and doing the work regularly, you build trust with yourself, and that trust is a strong base for anything you want to do. Consider Mark's story. He wanted to become a good computer programmer. He had a full-time job and family duties, so he had little free time. Instead of giving up, Mark decided to spend 1 hour every evening, after his family was asleep, learning to code. He started with online classes, practiced small coding puzzles, and worked on small personal projects. Some nights he was very tired and his mind felt foggy, but he still sat down and worked on learning. He made himself sit at his computer and study. He didn't expect to make huge progress every night. He just aimed for steady improvement. After a year of this focused work, Mark had a collection of projects, understood several programming languages well, and was able to get a new, more satisfying job as a software developer. His success didn't come from a sudden burst of talent, but from the steady power of doing small things often. Finally, and perhaps most importantly for long-term growth, rich thinkers see mistakes not as an end, but as a way to learn. In the world of poor thinking, a mistake is the end of the road. It means you're not good enough for something, and you should stop trying to avoid more sadness. It feels like a judgment on who you are. This fear of making mistakes stops many people from even trying to follow their dreams. But in the world of rich thinking, a mistake is just information. It tells you what didn't work and, importantly, why. When someone with a rich mindset faces a problem, they don't stay sad for long. Instead, they look closely at what happened. They ask, what went wrong? What did I believe that wasn't true? What could I have done differently? What can I learn from this so my next try is better? This way of thinking turns mistakes from a wall into a step. Every perceived mistake becomes a chance to improve your plan, learn more, and become better. It's like a scientist doing an experiment. If the experiment doesn't give the expected results, the scientist doesn't quit. They study the results, change their idea, and do a new experiment. They learn from what happened. In the same way, when you look at your own problems like this, you start to see them as valuable learning experiences that are needed for growth. This is where continuous learning, a main idea of rich thinking really comes in. Mistakes teach you some of the most important and useful lessons. They show you your own limits, how complicated the real world is, and why being able to change is important. By accepting these lessons, you become stronger, more creative, and better at reaching your goals. You learn to handle life's challenges with more wisdom and confidence. Think about a new company that tries to start. Many good companies fail. Someone with a poor mindset would see this as the end of their dream to be an entrepreneur. But someone with a rich mindset would look at why it failed. Was the market research wrong? Did the product not solve a real problem? Was the team not working well together? By honestly looking at these things, the entrepreneur learns very important things. They might not succeed with that specific idea, but the knowledge they gained can be used for their next idea, making it much more likely to succeed. They have learned, they have changed, and they are ready to try again, smarter and more prepared. So, how can you, the reader, know what to do when you feel overwhelmed or unsure? Start by breaking your big goals into the smallest possible steps. If your goal is to start a business that's too big, break it down. Spend 1 hour researching possible business ideas. Then write down 3 business ideas. Then research the market for idea number 1. Conclusion: you have read this book, Think Rich, Live Rich. Now, the most important thing to understand is this. A truly good life is not about how much money you have. It is about how you think. We have seen how people who do great things have certain habits and beliefs. They take action. We call this rich thinking. This is the strong base for a happy and successful life, more than any money you might have at the start. This is not about luck. It is about the strong thoughts you build inside your mind. Rich thinking means you take charge of your life and want to grow. It means setting big dreams, choosing what you do, seeing hard times as chances to learn, and working on yourself with focus. It means believing you can make your future happen with your thoughts and actions, living a life with a clear purpose. Think back on what we learned. We saw that rich thinkers do not just let life happen to them. They create their own lives. They set big, clear goals that show them where to go, like a map. This plan guides everything they do. On the other hand, poor thinking often means just going with the flow, doing what happens, or setting small goals to just get by. But you can be the builder of your own life. This leads to the strong belief, I am the builder of my life. When you admit your mistakes, learn from them, and do not blame others, you feel free. This feeling of owning your actions lets you take control and make the changes you want. Being a poor thinker and feeling like a victim keeps you stuck. But taking responsibility gives you power. We also found out that rich thinkers always want to learn more. They know that skills and knowledge are not set. They can always grow. They keep learning their whole lives, always trying to get better and change. This constant learning helps them create new things and find new chances. Poor thinking, however, often fights new ideas and stops growth. Then there is the need to act. Rich thinking is not just about having good ideas. It is about making those ideas real by working hard and with focus again and again. This means you see your time as very valuable and you take action, even when it is hard. Putting things off and waiting for the perfect time means you do nothing. Most importantly, we looked at how to bounce back. Rich thinkers do not see problems as the end. They see them as important lessons. They have that